What's going on, guys? WhiteFox1225 here with another video. Today we're going to talk about the Warden and all the skills he's going to have when ESO Morrowind launches. Thanks to people who went to PAX East and tried the expansion early, there is a list online of all the skills. If somehow you guys haven't heard, the Warden is the new class coming to ESO with the new Morrowind expansion. He has 3 skill lines and they're animal companions. That's a skill line that focuses on summoning animals to do DPS. There's Green Balance, which is all about healing with nature magic, and Winter's Embrace, which is frost magic and more defensive skills. Keep in mind when I'm going through the list that all these are subject to change because the game obviously has not launched. But let's go into the video and talk about all the skill lines. We're going to start with Animal Companions. The ultimate for this one is probably what most people are excited about. It's called the Eternal Guardian. You can summon a loyal grizzly to fight by your side. The grizzly swipe deals 3,426 magic damage every 1 second until slain. When the bear is killed, it will instantly respawn with a cooldown of 1 minute, and once summoned you can activate Guardian's Wrath for a 75 ultimate and 20,685 magic damage. Targets under 25% health are going to take 100% additional damage. That is quite a mouthful, but basically this is the ultimate everyone's looking forward to. It's where you can summon a pet to fight by your side. The bear is going to stay out for as long as it doesn't die, so technically you could have this thing out for hours if you're just traveling around the map. It is worth mentioning that if you do have this skill in the hotbar, you have to have it on both of your hotbars. You can't have it on one and then another, and that's just because it would be too OP if you could summon the bear and then change your hotbar when you switch weapons and use another ultimate. Let's move on and talk about the other skills in the skill line. There is Growing Swarm, where you unleash a swarm of fetcher flies to relentlessly attack an enemy, dealing 12,330 magic damage over 10 seconds. When the ability ends, fetcher flies infect up to 6 new targets. Next up we have Screaming Cliff Racer, which we saw quickly in the gameplay trailer. You can call in a Cliff Racer to dive bomb the enemy, dealing 7,061 magic damage, and if the damage is dealt from greater than 15 meters, it deals 15% more. In a weird way, I feel like this is similar to Snipe, and I see a lot of people using it for ranged combat. The next one on the list is Bird of Prey. The caster gains Major Expedition, increasing movement speed by 30% over 10 seconds. And Major Endurance, increasing stamina recovery for 20% over 10 seconds. You also gain Minor Berserk, increasing damage done by 8% for 10 seconds. That's a pretty standard buff. We've seen it similar things in other classes. It is really good, it seems like, for a stamina build, so if you're trying to do a stamina warden, this is definitely something you're probably going to want to check out. Moving on, we have Blue Betty, where you call a Betty Netch that restores 4,029 magicka over 25 seconds. You also gain Major Sorcery, increasing spell damage by 20% over 30 seconds, and the ability removes 1 negative effect. Just like Bird of Prey was really good for stamina builds, this is going to be really good for the magicka users. So again, if you're going to be using a lot of magicka, this is definitely something you're going to want to check out. The last skill we have is Deep Fissure. Summon a Haj Moda that charges ahead of you after 3 seconds and deals 9,251 magic damage to all enemies in its wake. The first target hit will be stunned for 3 seconds. That's a cool skill. I'm actually pretty excited to try that one out. I'm not sure if we've really seen anything like it in ESO before, so it should be pretty cool. Let's move on and talk about the passives for the skill line. Bond with Nature will give you the ability when your animal companion dies or you unsummon it, it will give you 1,386 health. If you're ever in a tight situation and you need some quick health, you can unsummon your pet. That will help a lot, and then you'll be restored some health, or if it dies, you'll just get that buff automatically. Flourish increases your magicka and stamina recovery by 12% if an animal companion ability is slotted. Advanced Species will increase your damage done for an animal companion abilities by 2% each animal companion ability that you have slotted. So each one will add 2% to that buff. Savage Beast is the last one. Damaging an enemy with an animal companion grants you 4 ultimate, and this effect has a cooldown of 8 seconds. This passive is going to be really useful if you like using the ultimate where you summon an animal companion, because by using it you're going to get more ultimate, so when it dies hopefully you can automatically summon it again. Like usual, all the passives are probably going to be worth investing in if you use the skill line. They just give you a lot of buffs, and if you're using the skill line, it always makes sense to invest in the passives. Green Balance is the next skill line, and that focuses on healing. So the ultimate for this skill line is called Healing Thicket. It instantly heals the lowest health ally in the area by 7,023. And then it heals all the allies in the area by 3,512 every 1 second over 6 seconds. When the effect ends, allies continue to receive 17,560 healing over 4 seconds. Obviously, this is a really good healing ultimate, and if you're playing healer, you're definitely going to want to check this out. Going into the other skills for green balance, we have Enchanted Growth, where you instantly grow a large area of mushrooms, healing all allies in a cone in front of you for 5,853 health. The allies affected gain minor intellect and minor endurance, increasing magicka and stamina regeneration 10% for 20 seconds. That's a good heal, and it also gives a magicka and stamina buff, so probably a good AoE heal to look into. Lotus Blossom is up next. While it's active, 26% of the damage that you cause with your light and heavy attacks will also heal a nearby ally. The caster also gains Major Prophecy, gaining spell critical by 2,191 for 20 seconds. The next skill is Corrupting Pollen. Summon a field of flowers which healed 9,382 health over 6 seconds. Only one can be active at a time. Enemies who enter the field will get Major Defile, reducing the healing received by 30% for 4 seconds. Allies may activate the Healing Seed synergy to gain an instant heal for 9,381 health. Next up is a skill I'm pretty excited for. It's Nature's Embrace. It lets you pull yourself to a targeted ally, and then you and that ally heal 1,756 health every 1 second for 10 seconds. That's really good for when a teammate is down and needs some help, maybe he's about to die, and it's kind of like the opposite of the Scorpion get over here thing, because you're just pulling yourself to an ally, and I can't wait to try this out because I think it's one of the cooler healing skills in the game, especially in this skill line. The last skill is Living Trellis. You grow vines to embrace you or the lowest health ally in front of you for 10 seconds. The vines heal the target for 1,756 health each time they take damage. This effect can occur once every 1 second. When the vines expire, they heal the target for an additional 4,265 health. You can only have one Living Trellis active at a time. Just another pretty standard healing ability. It's cool that there's so many in this skill line. But let's move on to the passives. We have Accelerated Growth. When healing an ally under 50% health with Green Balance ability, gain Major Mending, increasing your healing down by 25% for 8 seconds. That's just going to increase your healing a lot if you're using this skill line. Definitely worth investing in. Maturation. When healing an ally with a Green Balance ability, grant them Major Toughness, which increases max health for 10 seconds for 20 seconds. The next passive is Nature's Gift. When healing an ally with a Green Balance ability, gain 250 magicka. That's just going to help you heal your allies for even longer. Then lastly, we have Emerald Moss. Will increase the healing done by a certain percentage for each Green Balance ability slotted. Now this skill line and the Animal Companions one really couldn't be any different. One is completely about doing damage and Green Balance is completely about healing. I think that just kind of goes to show the variety of builds that this class can have. But let's move into the next skill line, which is Winter's Embrace. It's the last skill line. The ultimate for that skill line is Sleet Storm. All enemies near you will be snared for 1 second and take heavy 3,150 frost damage. Nearby allies will gain Major Protection, reducing incoming damage by 30%. So it damages your enemies and it helps defend your allies. Keep in mind it's not going to heal anyone, but it will stop them from taking some damage. Let's move into skills. We have Frozen Gate, where you summon a portal on the ground. When an enemy runs through it, they will be teleported to you and rooted for 2 seconds. If the target is immune at the time, they'll take 6,738 frost damage instead. And you can only have one active at a time, so it will be removed after activation. I really like the sound of this skill. It's really creative and I don't really think anything like it is in the game so far. It's going to be really good for tank builds and really any melee build in general. I really can't wait to try it out. Moving on, we have Expansive Frostcloak. You and allies gain Major Resolve, increasing physical resistance by 5,280, and Major Ward, increasing spell resistance by 5,280 for 24 seconds. Sounds like a standard protective ability, but could be really good. We'll have to wait and see. Impaling Charge is the next one. It deals 942 frost damage to targets in the area every 1 second over 10 seconds. Targets become snared for 4 seconds and damage done is based on your max health. Again, just like some of the other abilities, this is a really good one for a tank. The damage is based off your max health, so if you have a tank and you have more health like you should, it should do a lot of more damage, and plus they're going to do a snare. Overall, a really good tank AoE to have on your hotbar. Crystallized Shield will absorb spell projectiles, restoring 578 magicka. This can only happen 3 times, and when you're hit, you'll gain Major Heroism for 3 seconds. Arctic Wind is the last one, and you'll heal yourself for 11% of your max health instantly, and an additional 2% health every 2 seconds over 10 seconds. That's a really good self-heal to have on your hotbar. Let's move into the passives. We have Frozen Armor, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 500 for each Winter's Embrace ability slotted. Pretty standard for these skill lines, but the more abilities you have slotted, the better your resistance will be. Piercing Cold increases your physical and cold damage by 6%. Glacial Presence increases the chances of applying chill to enemies with Winter's Embrace abilities by 200%. That is a huge buff, so probably something you're going to want to look into. Then last up, we have Icy Aura. Reduce the effectiveness of snares applied to you by 15%, so you won't be snared for as long. So those are all the skills we have. Obviously all of them can be morphed once you level them. Not sure what the morphs will look like, but they all will have 2 different options. Each skill line seems to cater to either DPS, healer, and tank. Hopefully this video gave you guys some of an idea about what the Warden will be like. I know it was a lot, and I know I was reading a lot of skills that maybe didn't really make sense just with a lot of numbers. But I hope it helped you guys a little bit, and if you liked it, give it a like. We will have lots more ESO content coming in the future, especially with the Morrowind expansion. So if you want to see that, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I'm still selling t-shirts for $10 if you want one. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.